in Android application development. Starts at 2 o'clock sharply. Well, it's 2:02 according to my clock. So around 2 o'clock sharply. I think the course goes till 4:45. Is that right?
That is right.
That is right. This class actually will run a bit longer than some of my other classes. Whether I'll go to 4:45 or not is kind of debatable. Between 4 and 4:30. Today we'll get out a little bit earlier because I need to spend a little bit extra time at the end of class to troubleshoot problems. Because what we're going to do today, and I see some of you brought your computers, which is excellent, we're going to get your development tools installed. And we're going to get you set up and ready to go. And I'm going to give you a little bit of homework to do. Because next week we're going to write our first Android app, and we're going to start writing app after app. So the way the course is going to work is that we're going to do a lot of development in class. So by the time the course is over, you'll have developed at least 15, probably more, apps. So you don't need an Android phone or tablet. You can run it on the emulators. I'm going to show you the emulators today. We also have some options on the emulators. You can use a Mac or you can use a PC. Doesn't really matter what you're using. I'm going to use a Mac, actually. Believe it or not, the performance is better on the Mac than it is on the PC. And I'm not biased when I say that. And also, if you're taking the iOS application development course, then you're going to need a Mac for that. That you cannot do on a PC. So a lot of your app developers use Macs. They use Macs because you can't do both on a Windows machine. So you might as well pick the one that you're going to be able to do the most on. So, and you have to have a Mac anyway for iOS development if you're going to do that. Some of you aren't really worried about that. You're just doing Android, and that's great. But you'll get better performance, believe it or not, with the caching and the RAM and the way that the configuration is done. And so hopefully tomorrow at 10 o'clock they'll be introducing a faster MacBook too as well. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to announce tomorrow. But the rumor has it they're going to have a better MacBook out. So now's a good time not to buy the brand new one. Because if you wait one more day, wait till Wednesday or Thursday. Go on Craigslist. You'll see a ton of MacBooks out there. All cheap. Because everyone wants to sell their older one, the MacBook Pro, so they can sell their MacBook. To buy the brand new one, you know, that's going to be announced tomorrow. So it's a great window of opportunity to buy a used MacBook. But wait at least until the weekend or Thursday, Friday. And then the prices will drop down to nothing. Because the more MacBooks you get out there, the lower they are, the cheaper they are. If you're interested in a really good one that's going to last for a very long time, if you're looking at Macs, the MacBook Airs, they didn't do anything different with the Airs. The Airs are the same. They have the better processor on it. I can't remember what they call the processor, but it's the same processor that they're going to put on the new MacBook Pros, as rumor has it. But long story short, those Airs have retained their value completely. The Airs cost more than the MacBook Pros right now. Some of them do, actually. So the Air's not a bad one if you're going to make a long-term investment in something. And if you just want to buy a cheap computer to do iOS development because you signed up for the iOS development course that hasn't started yet, that's a weekend course that will start in probably October, late September, October. If you're doing that, you're going to need a MacBook. But this is a great opportunity to pick one up. So anyway, long story short, that's my sales pitch on Macs. Let's talk about Windows. let's talk about Android. So you're in Android phone application development. I would have called this Android application development. And when they rewrite these names occasionally, we go through and we change the descriptions and the names. I think take the word phone out of here. We're not writing for a specific phone. We're writing for mobile devices. Mobile devices means application level, using an SDK, using the Android development tools on top of the APIs, or using the APIs, excuse me, on top of the device. You could take Android embedded systems or Android kernel development, totally different class. For this class, we're not going to build any Android kernels. However, a lot of your embedded systems are built, some now are starting to take the Android route, just like putting embedded Linux on the little small little embedded devices. All of your tablets out there made by everybody in the world, it's an open system. It's made by or has an Android kernel on it. So whatever we're writing in this class works on Android devices. We have different levels of the APIs, different series of them. I'll go through all that today as well. So we aren't writing for iOS, we are writing for Android. And so the course is going to introduce you to the SDK and released by Google. And Also facilitate development of applications, various different types of applications. They're all GUI based. Look at GUI program. Look at Java programming. Some of you may or may not have a Java programming background. Don't worry about it. We can still build half a dozen or more apps without knowing anything about Java, believe it or not. It's very minimal Java. Some of you actually just came out of my Java programming course, which is a good thing. But if you didn't just do that, you'll probably pick up a lot of Java in this class. You're just bound to. And I will talk a little bit about Java as well throughout the course. The more Java you know, the more you can do past the GUI. The GUI is fun for a certain point, but how are you going to get your calculator to actually calculate? So that's, you have to know a little bit about Java. You don't really need to know math skills, you just need to know about how to program in the programming language. Lucky for you, however, that Java programming is much easier than iOS, Objective-C. So some of you are taking the Objective-C class, and that's Objective-C programming. I'm teaching that class with iOS. So you write Objective-C programs, not to sell you again on this, but you'll write Objective-C source code, you'll compile and run it on iOS, iPad, iPhone devices. This class is kind of like the opposite of that. It's not Java programming, it's Android. So we're focusing on the Android application development with a little Java programming underneath on the side. So this one will probably end up being more fun, actually, because it's less technical. But there's value in learning how to program in Java. So you can go through the learning objectives. You can go through the required equipment. Absolutely nothing is required except for a computer with enough memory on it. So you don't need to buy a textbook, but let me show you a good one in a few minutes. You don't need to buy any of the development tools. Don't pay to download this stuff. We're going to download it in a few minutes, and you'll see where to get it from. I did not specify a textbook, and for a very good reason for this course. Well, let's see, it's been 1 month and a half since the last SDK came out. Every couple months we get a new SDK version, and we get brand new interfaces, brand new tools, brand new everything. How are you gonna, you buy a book, 2 months, it's gonna be outdated. The book will be outdated before the class is over with. So if you're gonna buy a book, buy one in Java programming. That's what I say. Or buy a used book, don't pay too much for it, use it for what it's worth, the stuff that hasn't changed. And then the stuff that has changed, even the install has completely changed recently as well. Since the last time I taught this course, actually, the install is completely different. So, long story short, don't invest too much money in a book, and I did not require one for this course. So, if you're brand new, how many people are actually brand new to ITU? Ooh, wow. Okay, let me start backward a little bit. You have EMS accounts? Yes. Okay, good. You guys have EMS accounts. If you don't have an EMS account, contact tech support at itu.edu. Tech support, your friend, hopefully. And you'll get access. If I go into my Android phone application development, you're going to see a bunch of stuff in here. The class is already populated, ready to go. It's got assignments. I'm going to go over those in a few minutes. I only put one lesson in here. I have to upload the rest of them. I haven't decided which ones I'm going to use yet. This is where you're going to submit for, I'm talking to brand new people right now who've never taken a course before at ITU. This is your first semester. This is where you're going to submit everything. And all the assignments go into a separate link. Yours is going to look slightly different, but there's going to be a posting for each one of your assignments. The course is tutorial driven. So you'll be going through different tutorials and you'll be writing different programs. You're submitting completed programs. So that's why you need a development environment set up. We will also be doing stuff in class that will be development work. So we have 6 assignments and a final exam. Final exam will be in class. For those of you who have had me before, you know this other website that I have. And I don't have it bookmarked. Here it is here. It's www.bhecker.com. Easy to remember my email address. It's bhecker@itu.edu or bhecker.com. The hard part would be remembering bhecker. if you go into Be a Hacker and you click on Fall 2013, and you go down to the second one here, it says the class time, just in case you forget what time we meet on Mondays, 2. You click on Android phone application development, takes you to here. I'm going over the syllabus right now. I use this because not all the new people have access to the EMS. Plus, sometimes the EMS goes down, sometimes it's hard to navigate. Everything that's in here is in the EMS that's important, but there's extra stuff in here that's not in the EMS. So, for example, today we're going to go over in this tutorials link right here. If I click on tutorials, and if you're bored, you can do this. In fact, someone is, because my internet speed is slowing down. It was working. Well, let's see what happens when we install Android. Let's see if we could take the internet out today. Well, if you click on the tutorials, you'll see a Hello World tutorial 1 and 2. Wow, no, seriously, stop clicking, people. I can't get in anymore. Anybody else having the same problem? You are too. All right, everybody's doing the same thing at the same time, probably. All right. Well, anyway, let's go back to that later. But what we've got going on here is it's all broken out. I've got the assignments, the lectures, supplemental notes, tutorials, previous video lectures. I've taught this class several times in the past. There's several different versions of the class out there. Problem with the older lectures, and I'll warn you about this ahead of time, as I was mentioning before, every couple months the SDKs change. Everything changes. The mapping stuff is all brand new. It's all different. The SDK, the install is all different. Everything, it keeps evolving and changing. Some of the old tutorials still work. This is why I haven't populated the EMS yet. I have to go through and decide, and I have to make changes to update every single one of them to make sure that they're all compatible now with the new SDK. Because I'm going to install today, I don't know how far I'm going to get, but I'm going to download and install the tutorials. So, what I'd like you to do, because I think we're going to have internet problems, let's just start the problems out now. What I want you to do, if you're bored, or if you want to start the download, go to, let me give you the address here. Oops. developer.android.com. It's not that big of a file. It's actually pretty small. So you'll get to this page, the sweeter jelly beans. Wow. If we go into develop link, we get to here, or we can simply just click on or change the URL. What you want to do is you want to go into the SDK. So if you go into the SDK, you get to here. So Android developer, no WWs, just developer.android.com/SDK, or click through it using the menu. You want to get to this page here where it says Get Android SDK. So you can do this while I'm talking about the syllabus and the assignments and stuff. And hopefully some of you might actually get this to work. On mine, it automatically detected that I have a Mac. It should detect your operating system. So mine says download the SDK ADT bundle for Mac. Yours should say for Windows. As of last month, I believe they said it's working on Windows 8. So it hasn't really been working on Windows 8. If you have 8, you're taking your chances right now. It's supposed to be fixed. If you have 7, you're in good shape. If you have a Mac, you're in excellent shape. So I'm actually going to click on it. It's going to say get the Android SDK. And there's a little button down here that says I've read the agreement. Yeah, go through and read the agreement. It's several pages long, the agreement. It's a software license agreement. Yes, I read it. Okay. And then click on the download the SDK ADT bundle for Mac. And you get this little, I got a little screen here. It's a zip file. It's going to be a zip file on your system. It's going to be a zip file on mine. Click on the OK button and then be patient, which is why we started it now. So it's going to be downloading. Don't do anything when it downloads. Just wait for the next step, and we'll revisit this in a few minutes. So start your download. Anyone want any help with the download? Everyone who has a computer. has the download started, or will be starting it soon. We'll play around with that while I talk over you. So let me go back to the syllabus. So the learning outcomes basically is centered around developing applications for the Android platform, and knowing how and understanding Java programming is secondary learning objective here. We will actually work with SQLite. You don't have to install anything for it. What you're installing right now is the whole shebang altogether. So it's not too bad, actually. If you have a phone, then you're going to be, oh, look at that, my download completed. So maybe your download has completed as well, which is good. So just leave that alone for now. I'm going to go back to that in a few minutes. But if you have an Android device, all you need is a USB cable. You don't need to bring the device with you to class, but on certain days I'll tell you to bring the device, because there's certain things that will work on devices that won't work on the emulators. So the software bundle, what we're downloading right now, contains emulators. And the emulators look like and act like Android devices. They run kind of slow. They're a little bit of buggy. There's a little bugginess to it. So I'm going to show you another way of doing it using VirtualBox. There's also a couple of new ways out there of doing it as well. You may use any emulator you want. The other choice you have is to hook up an Android phone through a USB cable, drag the APK file over to the Android phone on the SD card, double click on it, and there you go. It runs just fine. Or actually, you don't have to double click on it. Just use the phone and install it on the phone. Next week, we'll be doing that. So if you have an Android phone or a tablet or something, bring it next week, because we're not going to get through the entire tutorial. When we get done, we'll put our first app onto a device, so I can show you how to do that. It is so simple. It's unbelievable. I'll show you, or I'll tell you in advance, hopefully, in the future, which days to bring your phone or your tablet, just in case you don't carry it with you. Because it is needed for certain things. You know, like the accelerators, the navigational stuff, the mapping stuff, none of that stuff works on the emulator. So you're going to want to use a phone for that, for the most part. So the grading is real simple. There's a final exam at the end. There's no source code writing on the final exam. Final exam is 40% of the grade, which means you actually have to pass the final exam in order to pass the class, because if you don't pass the final exam, you're not going to stand a chance point-wise. 60% of the class is all you're learning. This is easier, actually. It's 6 programming assignments, and forget about this ABC workshop grading stuff. I meant to edit that out, and I noticed I didn't. But we have 6 programming assignments, each worth 10 points each. So the assignments are going to all be due on the very last day of class. Here's why. Some people have Java skills, some people don't. Some people have done this stuff before, some people haven't. It's going to take longer for some. Y'all will get to the same point at one time throughout the term. It may not happen all at the same time. So without having to put any pressure on anyone, know that you have 6 assignments. The 6 assignments will be due at the end of the course, but you don't want to wait till the end of the course to do them. So they'll all be due on the 16th, which means you can pace yourself. We're going to actually do some of the assignments in class, actually. So as long as you're attending the class and you're paying attention, you'll have most of the work done for you. We'll also do parts and pieces of the assignment, but not the whole thing. We'll leave some stuff for you to do on your own, which makes it more interesting for you. Wouldn't want to give it all away. But long story short, most of the programming is going to be most of your learning. The multiple choice / fill in the blank / comprehensive sort of exam that you're going to get at the end is going to see, what do you remember, what did you learn. It's just an overall assessment to see what you learned actually. The programming assignment is really going to show most of what you've learned. But there won't be any in-class programming. Every time I've done programming on finals, it's turned into a disaster. So it's like, well, it's just hard to word the question, and then it's hard to grade it too, but it's also hard for you guys to answer it because most people are typing. And it's actually kind of funny, last term I gave an essay for engineering management course, and people are like, I haven't written in years, like, you know, with a pen and a piece of paper. People are going, ow, my hand hurts from writing. It's like, what do you mean? You don't? But people type. So how are you going to do Android's programming stuff if you type all the time? I mean, and then memorizing source code when you're building project templates and you're working, with a project or something, so it's hard to simulate it on an exam, long story short, so you be rest assured that you're not going to have any programming. You might have programming related questions and syntax related questions, but it will be multiple choice format. Standard grading scale, I do not give out A pluses, and A is the highest grade you can get in this course. A 4.0 is the highest grade points you can get at this university. There's no such thing as an A plus. So don't ask me for an A plus, you're not going to get an A plus. Academic dishonesty. This class has been taught half a dozen times already. The assignments are similar. I do actually, within the next couple of days, am going to go through and make sure that I've got some uniqueness about each one of them. So don't go home tonight and finish all the assignments, because they might change slightly within the next week. So I haven't had a chance yet to go through, but also I need to make sure they're all compatible with the modern day SDK. And the mapping one's not going to be, so I have to change that around, I know. So I know at least one assignment that will need to be changed. But long story short, don't recycle anybody else's work, do your own work. It's actually very easy for me to tell which computer system your app came from, and you're going to give me the source code project. So in there's embedded information that I can look at. If you know what you're looking for, you can find what computer it was, what date it was created, what date it was modified, where it came from, who's the author, all that other stuff. It's just, it's really easy to find that stuff out. So this class is extremely easy to check for plagiarism for. And it's a pretty small group, so I'll have an easy time doing that as well. And I will be checking. So don't turn in other people's work. And then usually people say, well, we worked on this together. There's no togetherness. No group work in this class. I don't care if you're sharing computers, you're both doing your own work. Everybody's doing their own work. You can use a PC or a Mac for this class. There's no excuse. You don't have to go out and buy a $200 PC. You don't have to share computers either. So just keep that in mind. I'm looking for everyone's own work, no group projects. Questions about the syllabus? I felt like I went through that kind of fast, but no? All right, well, think about it. Next week, I will tell you about any changes that were made to any of the assignments or anything. I am still reviewing things, so we can figure that out. So now I'm actually, oh yeah, for the brand new people as well, one thing to note is that I'm also recording these lectures, and so let me bring it up here. You'll find them on YouTube, but you'll also find them linked in the behacker.com website. And a couple weeks down the road, you find them in the resources section of the EMS as well. So if you missed a class or something of that nature, you can go back and see what you missed, essentially. The other thing, too, I forgot to tell you about on the first day of class is the thing with attendance. I don't take attendance. I have a... well, it's not me who does this. It's the university that does the attendance now. The university will send somebody in who will take attendance. The person will come in. He actually gave a little speech earlier today, so he'll probably give us the same thing over again. And tell us about the course, how attendance is going to run, yada yada. And then he takes attendance. It takes him about 15 minutes. If you're not in the room, you don't get non-attendance. There's no asking me after he leaves. Oh, I was here. I saw them leaving the room. It doesn't matter if you saw him leaving the room or her leaving the room. You're not going to get on attendance. There's nothing I can do about it. So you do have to attend 70% of the class to get a grade. If you don't attend 70%, I don't have any control. I can't do anything for you. You're going to get a D- in the course automatically by the administration. Which means you could miss, I want to say it's like 3 or 4 class meetings. So on the 3rd or 4th class meeting that you missed, if you're interested in finding out what you missed, you can watch the video. So on that note, I try to separate things out as well. So I'm going to stop this recording, and then